And yes, the theme of this week's Final Five is footy patch-ups. There's Luke Parker and Dylan Shiel after the game on the weekend, making up after that rather unfortunate antic from Luke Parker a few weeks earlier. Ross, have you patched things up with any big names in footy?
Well, the AFL CEO, he would sit there, yeah. So never complain, never explain.
Gill?
No, not Gill. Gill's...
Andrew Demetrio cast doubt on Lions' integrity. What was that all about?
That might have been when I left St Kilda in the middle of the night. He said, read between the lines based on Craig Kelly. So, look, I didn't enjoy the comments. I reached out to him. We did break bread over a breakfast, and 13 months later, I got an AFL Life membership, was it? No, Demetrio presents, with Lion, Demetrio. I'm not sure, but we patched it up.
What about you, Matthew? You've had a few.
Yeah, after the line in the Sand game, Caro, I saw Campbell Brown have an incident with Jason Winderlich, and I went on radio and said it's the worst, one of the worst acts I've seen. Campbell and his father were threatening to sue me. And then we've had moments on the field, and I actually got a direct message on Instagram from Campbell saying, "Can I come to your house?" I said, "Yep, let's have a chat." And he had an Essendon jumper, and he asked me to write to Brad Sewell for his Bucks. Hey, Brad, hope you last longer on your Bucks day than you did on the MCG that day. And we hugged it out there, we hugged it out on TV, and we're now really close.
And they made him wear that your jumper.
Number 18 on the back, he wore it the whole Bucks day.
Fantastic. Now, Caro, which episode have you made up with people?
Oh, well, I've, as you know, fallen out with a few people over the journey, but I did fall out with Graham Allen, who's been a long-time friend of mine in footy. Well, I felt he'd been duplicitous and not exactly honest with me. And then
paid him to do that.
Then the whole Lockie Whitfield saga happened. I was, with hindsight, extra harsh on him in a couple of columns. He got in touch with me when I had a family issue, and we ended up going out for lunch a few years ago, and I sort of said you'd been dishonest, and he said I thought we went back. Anyway. I apologised. All good now. What about you, Ed?
I don't know. Which one do you want, this week or...?
Neil Mitchell, Mick Malthouse.
Well, Mick Malthouse, people always talk about it with Mick Malthouse. I've never fallen out with Mick, but there were some battles going on at various stages there, particularly when he went to Carlton and he was having some shots at the Pies. But, Mick and I have had multiple breaking of bread. In fact, 2 weeks ago he was my guest at the MCG with his wife Nanette and with Beefy Botham and Kim Hughes. And yeah, that's water under the bridge now. But that's what happens in this game. It's a contact sport.
Did you have someone sampling your wines before you drank it?
I remember you did say he didn't have a friend at Collingwood at one point. I'm glad he does now.
He's got friends there now.
I'll bring it home. I was asked to talk about footy patch-ups. Said it's too many for me to count between you and me, but the fact we're sitting here tonight working together and have for a few years suggests that probably after the 8th or 9th time we made it.
I often say a lot of people might hate me, but I don't hate anyone.
I often get confused whether you have made up.